Welcome to a realm where personal growth meets expansive spirituality and where we're not just scratching the surface. We're diving deep, widening our perspectives, and having a darn good time doing it. This is the Enlighten Podcast, and I am your host, Jen Hamilton. You'll enjoy an infusion of motivation, empowerment, and inspiration that will resonate in every aspect of your life. Expect captivating stories, heartfelt musings, and my own personal experiences. But that's not all. I'm bringing awe-inspiring individuals to the table, so get ready to meet some remarkable souls whose wisdom and stories will leave you spellbound. No topic is off limits here. Brace yourself for raw authenticity, unfiltered vulnerability, and yes, the occasional splash of explicit language. We're delving into the realms of the esoteric, mystical, and the woo-woo, unafraid to explore the extraordinary. So if you are ready to venture beyond the surface, to explore the depths of your soul, and to awaken the magic of life, if your heart says yes, then hit that play button and let the Enlighten Podcast guide you on this remarkable expedition. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Enlighten Podcast. I'm your host, Jen, and my guest today is Avadhi Dhruv. Avadhi is a spiritual business coach and international best-selling author who helps heart-centered entrepreneurs who are longing for sustainable business income create a personalized strategy for unlimited growth in their business and freedom in lifestyle without the burnout. Through her books and programs, she helps her clients create and execute on strategic plans for their businesses where they have unlimited potential for growth in income and deep understanding of their worth as a business owner. Avadhi had so much wisdom to share in our conversation, so without further ado, let's dive in. Hello, Avadhi, and welcome to the Enlighten Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me. Lovely to be here.
It's my absolute pleasure, and I'm so excited to dive into the topics that we're going to chat about because you're a spiritual business coach and international best-selling author. I'd love to hear, first up, what was the book about that you've written?
My book, Inner Genius, Outer Guru, it's a heart-centered entrepreneur's guide to unlimited potential for growth in income and freedom in lifestyle without burnout. And it's for new entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs who've been in business and feel stuck somehow and can't break through a ceiling, how they can break through that ceiling and create unlimited potential for growth in income and freedom in lifestyle.
That sounds incredible. I can't wait to get my hands on a copy of it. What is it that was your journey that inspired you to step into this space and write this book?
Yes. So I grew up in India. I was born in India and grew up in a family that's been in business for generations. So my grandfather was a serial entrepreneur. So I grew up seeing him start several businesses. And then my dad also has been in business almost all his life. He went to school for engineering. So did I. But then after that, he's been a business owner. So I've seen a business like in the traditional sense of business world. And so I grew up with that background, but I saw a lot of struggle. I saw a lot of, fear around competition and having to beat competition and just a lot of scarcity and fear around being in business and having to succeed and what are people going to think and so many expectations and obligations just as human beings that we tend to have growing up, but also especially when it comes to entrepreneurship and business. And so seeing the struggles from inside, from a family that now owns a global brand and international business that I'm a partner of, and seeing the struggles and also how to overcome them, and then founding my own personal brand and being an entrepreneur myself, the struggles that I went through I didn't have a coach or a mentor right from the beginning that I could lean into. And so I went through my own trials and errors and learned a lot along the way that I felt compelled to offer to other new entrepreneurs so that they can have a shorter learning curve and have a greater chance of success because entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart and is definitely a treacherous road. It's definitely worthwhile and worth every bit of energy that an entrepreneur puts into it, which is a lot. But to have to give people the support and guidance that I needed myself when I started my business, but also everything I've learned through my family's business of generations. I poured all that into the book and I felt compelled to share that message with the world. So that's how that came about.
Wow, that sounds incredible. And what a journey that you've been on. I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the struggles that you found at the start of your entrepreneurial journey?
Yes, the biggest struggle I had was self-confidence, which was actually from a low self-worth, which I realized later. How it showed up is self-doubt, feeling obligated to meet other people's expectations, defining my success according to other people's definitions or society's definitions of success. I was successful um, in all of those aspects. Like I went to school for engineering, I graduated with a top GPA, I got a really good corporate job, and I worked in the corporate world. I was successful in my career, and when I jumped into entrepreneurship, I didn't see all of those same ways of operating turn into success in the entrepreneurship journey, and so self doubt, um, boundaries, having trouble creating boundaries, people pleasing, what will people think, having all of those things influence my decisions, not having a clear roadmap of what to follow. All of those types of struggles came up for me, and family, like my husband have supported me, but to a certain extent, but he didn't know what else. He's not been an entrepreneur, so um, family members and like not having the level of support from family that I needed, but I didn't even know that I needed. And so those are the kind of struggles. I remember feeling scarcity, like running out of my savings. Where is my next income going to come from? Inconsistency in income. Um, Lots of doubt and fears from the scarcity mindset that I faced in my entrepreneurship journey.
And was there any, I guess, pushback from a cultural perspective that you had to be on the entrepreneurial journey, or it wasn't safe for you to be? Like, where did your culture stand in that?
It was a big part of the cultural conditioning that I come from because I come from India, and being a woman in the traditional Indian culture, um, there's like unwritten rules like that. And then I got married in 2017, so I was dating before, and then being a wife meant supporting the husband but not expecting the husband to support me being a working woman and an entrepreneur. And so struggles around expecting, um, giving myself the permission to give myself the self-care and nourishment and support I needed in the journey was the most difficult for me, especially because of the cultural conditioning that I'm supposed to give more and give all the time. As a woman, you could relate, give all the time and not expect to receive. um, much at all. And that is the probably the fastest route to burnout.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, that was a big part. And then culturally, I'm the only woman entrepreneur who's also an author in like all of our extended family. So um, what it takes to be an author and put a book out there, and then now be a book mom, right? Be that representative for it in the world, and what that takes. It takes a lot more culture from a cultural perspective that the culture and current family dynamics don't understand and don't know how to deal with. So one of the other things was that I had these limiting beliefs that I'm not supposed to make more income than my husband. And so that held me back for a long time too. So there are these limiting beliefs that I didn't even know I had that definitely limited the growth that I could. And ever since I recognized and shifted the limiting beliefs to more empowering and uplifting beliefs for myself, that has reflected in all areas of my life, and also, income and bank account. And I see that with my clients as well. But those are some ways that culture definitely played a role in my journey.
Yeah. How long have you been on this entrepreneurial journey for?
I resigned from my corporate job in November of 2014, and I've been an entrepreneur since then. And the personal brand in my current business, I founded it in 2016.
Okay, so
So,
about 9 years from the start, essentially.
mhm,
Yeah. I'm
yeah.
really curious when you first started out on this journey, and obviously you mentioned that there was, family members that were on this journey, and obviously there was other people that you were looking up to. What was your version of success then compared to perhaps what your version of success is now?
That's a very good question. So, my version of success at the time was being a good daughter, being a good wife, being a good, and if you notice, all of these are relational to someone else. And therefore, dependent on that someone else's expectations of me or of that role that I, now have to perform to. So, my definition of success was basically dependent on other people's expectations and me meeting them all the time, and also society's expectations in general. So it was all about measuring up to someone else, a standard set by someone or something outside of me.
Mm,
And my version of success now is basically being and living up to the best version of myself that I can be, up to my full potential, which is unlimited as far as other people's expectations and all those obligatory things are concerned. And it's up to me to decide what my full potential looks like. And then it's up to me to take actions to live up to that and become the best version of myself every day. So that's how I see my success now.
and how does it feel for you going from that one version of success to another? You sound like such a free, liberated person because of that. How does that feel for you?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is it's freeing. It's totally freeing. It's empowering. There's a feeling of being unlimited and
Mm.
abundant in that.
Yes.
And it's very inspirational, not only for myself to watch myself, like for my version of myself to look back and watch myself grow, but also I can see that it's inspirational for other people around me, the family members, my clients, the friends, people, anyone I meet. it's inspirational to me and to other people around. And that's in that to me, that's fulfilling.
Mm.
It's fulfillment. And that's the ultimate feeling.
Yeah. And you're also a spiritual business coach. Tell us how you weave spirituality into business or entrepreneurship.
Yes, that's one of the main things I talk about in my book as well, is how these seemingly separate, like, we hear about spirituality separately and business separately, but these two rarely come together in the traditional sense of business or traditional sense of spirituality, even. And so, the reason I thought of bringing these together and how I weave them in together is because in my family, I grew up in a business family, as I mentioned earlier. I saw a lot of stress come from practicing just the traditional business strategies and things like that. Um, because there was a lack of fulfillment, and even after doing all the right things and achieving the goals, the business goals, there wasn't this fulfillment, like this basic peace and satisfaction and happiness, joy. And so there was this constant like need to keep rushing and keep going, achieving the next goal and the next and the next. And it's great to set next goals and achieve them, but the feeling of fulfillment was missing. That peace and joy and harmony in relationships were missing. So I felt like bringing in the spirituality and weaving it into the business would help create that peace and joy and abundance in the truest sense of the word, not just the material sense of the word. And the other side of this that I found is that there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are deeply spiritual and heart centered. They want to make a difference in the world, um, a positive impact, just like I did as I started and still do. But they don't necessarily know about business strategy and traditional business and how to set goals and then make a plan and project management and sales marketing and all of that. And so we bringing in the success principles from this traditional business, and a lot of them, I found that spirituality oriented people who are well meaning almost got turned off from business and the traditional business and how sales and all of these things that feel icky to them. So I created ways to teach the basic principles of business in a way that feels authentic and aligned and truly makes an impact in the world without all the ickiness of it. So is that,
Yeah.
so that is how I blend it in together,
Mm.
um, to create the abundance and the fulfillment for the entrepreneurs and for the world. And that's my vision, to create a
Yeah.
world of abundance and fulfillment.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because like you were saying, like sometimes there's just really spiritual people, which is perfect. And sometimes there's just really business orientated people. And, to find that synergy can be quite difficult, especially if you're playing in sort of a very feminine aspect of spirituality, and business and entrepreneurship requires you to step into your masculine
Right.
version, being able to, harmonize the two and be able to work with that. There's a lot of people in my field, and no doubt a lot of listeners of this podcast that are in a very similar situation. So I kind of want to dive into that. What are some of the things that you would um, what are some of the ways in which you are inviting in spirituality into business? Like tangibly, what does that look like for you to be able to bridge them both together?
Yeah, yeah, you hit a very important point. That's what I call bringing a holistic approach to business, is bringing the left-brained logical reasoning side and marrying it very beautifully with the feminine, the intuitive side that's trusting. And so the way I do it, and my book, so my book is a step-by-step process that's very organized and laid out in a way that you would say the left-brained, logical, um, structured way. It's called that it walks the reader through on the abundance path, and on in every step there's spiritual principles and exercises and worksheets that encourage spiritual um, introspection to come up with the answers from within and then lay them out in a way that can then bring that out into the world, in the outer world, in a way that would speak to the outer world. So there is, it's all from the inside out. It's the inside out approach, and the steps are laid out in a logical way. So that's how the book does it. And my programs and everything, we start with the strategic, long-term vision, the goals, the intentions and goals of a client, for example. And so I have a client that we started with her long-term vision and her goals, and she laid out the 3 goals that she has that she wants to achieve. And then we take one at a time. This is a simplified version, but then one at a time. And then we dive into the inner world of her beliefs, thoughts, and feelings regarding the goal first, which is the spirituality aspect. And we clear any blocks, and I have modalities I've learned, plus I have a method I've created called clear intention healing that is similar to shamanic, healing practices that I use depending on what's needed to help the client release any limitations, any fears, anything that's blocking them first. And then we create a clear action plan from the logical standpoint to lay out what actions need to be taken for them to actually achieve the goal. So inside out approach always, instead of pushing for the outer result without addressing the inner limitations or whatever's blocking the flow. And once their intuition is freely flowing, then we lay out the action plan, and then they're fully empowered to take the actions. um, and then when they take the actions, they get the results, and so that's how they achieve their goals. So that's in a nutshell the process.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And you're speaking my language. I love it. I love it. Um, let's take a look at how to get clarity around your calling or your purpose in life, because there's so many incredible humans in this world, like tapping into knowing that they want to do more, knowing that it could be potentially a business, or it could just be a calling of some sort to do a certain thing, but they're not quite sure where to start. Like, what is your recommendation for someone who's just getting curious at the moment around this?
Yeah, my book actually starts off with getting clear on your calling, and exactly. So I would recommend getting a copy of the book and reading chapters, specifically chapter 4 and 5 is where that answer is laid out in much more detail. But someone who's curious, that is a very good sign, because curiosity is the first step, and the desire to explore something new is the first step to actually discovering something new, and especially the calling. So we all have our calling, like kind of we're born with it, we have it within us already. So it's not something we need to find out there anywhere. It's all within us. How do we draw it out of ourselves? The first simple exercise that someone who's listening right now could do is the one that I call the fill your cup exercise. take a timer and set about 10 minutes on the timer, and take a piece of paper or a notepad and a pen and write down all the things that bring you joy and the things that like make you lose track of time and bring you so much joy that you love to do, or yeah, to do. So any activities or anything, and just keep making a list and just see what comes up on the list. And everything that's on there is part of your calling.
Mm.
That is the first step that I would say that is going to lead you. And so once you have a list, then pick the top 2 or 3 things that maybe you aren't currently doing, but you would love to do, or you're doing but not at the frequency level that you would like to, and incorporate those activities into your daily routine. So it could be going for a walk, it could be speaking to new people, it could be listening to music or singing or dancing or whatever it is for you. And start incorporating that more into your routine, because that will open up the creative juices. Will fill your cup first. And when your creative juices are flowing, what comes out of you always leads you to your calling and to get more clarity on it. And there's a lot more. I have worksheets um, that dive much deeper into this that go with the book. So the book has more info on that.
It sounds like the book's really interactive as well, that it gives you the opportunity to really sit and reflect on things, and there's exercises to do in that too.
Yes, there's actually a companion workbook that the workbook has a series of worksheets, because the book isn't just theory. I wanted to make it a guide. And so anyone can read the book and do the worksheets that come with it. And what they would end up with is a personalized strategic plan for their dream business that's aligned authentically with their purpose and their calling. So it is definitely very much interactive. And I
Yeah.
have a free Facebook group as well that has other resources too that people can access, further free resources to just get more and more clarity and how to implement that in their lives.
Beautiful. And we will link to that in the show notes as well. Avdi, there's a statistic that says something like, I think it's about 80% of businesses fail after, like within the first 2 years, which is fascinating, isn't it? And it doesn't surprise me, because having been in business myself and wanting to throw in the towel many times, having different versions of my business. I've had an e-commerce, online health and wellness store. I then moved into service-based business, and it has been a journey. And I think to myself sometimes, I'm like, it would just be a dream to just go and get a 9 to 5 again, work for someone and do one role. Like, I've sort of done a few stints, over the years. It's like, I'm just like, I need a break. I just want to go and work for someone else. And it's like a holiday, because they say that, you leave your 9 to 5 job to have your own business, and you end up working 24/7. So what are some of the things in which you've seen working with clients as to why perhaps businesses fail from, such an early time?
Yes, that is a great question. And I have a story in my book that answers this exact question. So I'm going to point to it. But the one thing from what you said, yes, the statistic is something like 90% of businesses fail within the first year. Out of the ones that go on, um, a majority of them fail within the first 30 years, as in the entrepreneur gives up. And that is for a very good reason. Two good reasons. One is that's where the spirituality aspect comes in. Um, most businesses, if we ask all of it, like people who started a business, why did they start a business? Most people won't have the clarity on why, or they just started because they needed another income source and like to make more money. Um, while may, so first of all, having a very clear and compelling why and a reason that is beyond making money is extremely, extremely important as a part of the foundation for the business. So the short answer to why most businesses fail is because most of these businesses do not take the time to create that strong foundation initially and don't start with a strong foundation. And so imagine a huge tree without a strong root system.
Mm,
That tree's gonna fall when there's a storm or some wind hitting it, or like a huge building without that foundation
mm,
holding it in place. And so that is what I work with my clients first, to set a strong foundation so that their business can grow and weather all kinds of storms that are bound to come. So that's a strong why is a part of the strong foundation. The other part is that if people start a business because you just need to make more money, making money is great in business, but um, when it's from a lack and scarcity mindset, like I don't have enough and therefore I need more, that scarcity mindset, when we start with that and stay there, that itself can bring down a business. A business really flourishes from the entrepreneur being in the abundance mindset. So I talk about the scarcity mindset versus the abundance mindset, and how to recognize which one you're in and how to shift from scarcity mindset to abundance mindset in my book as well. And so that is those are the two things: not having a strong foundation, a clear why, and knowing when you are in a scarcity mindset and shifting from that to the abundance mindset, or not knowing that, can also self-sabotage the um, businesses. And then another aspect, those are on the inner world side of things. And then the outer world side, not having clear knowledge of a business and what it really takes strategically, not having a team or like support system, a guide, a mentor, a coach, that can guide the person on the path. Not having that level of support and knowledge is a big factor as well in why the statistic is the way it is. And I
mm.
say that being in business and being a successful entrepreneur is like the Olympics for spirituality. And like,
I like that.
and so not everyone gets to win an Olympic medal. It takes a lot, and it takes a lot for entrepreneurship and to be successful in it, but it's totally worthwhile. So,
And it sounds like there's so much juicy information in your book as well, which we will link to the ways in which our listeners can get their hands on their book, on your book. How do people find you, work with you, be in your field?
yes, so the book itself, I have a web page on my website, which we'll link in the show note, that has two options. They can get a PDF downloadable copy of the book by entering just their name and email, and that is at no cost. And there is an option to order a paperback print version for people who want to hold it in their hand and flip through it. And so that's available on the same web page as well. And it's, yeah, so that's how they can get the book copy. My website has lots of other free resources as well, information, articles, and the link. And I also offer a complimentary 30-minute abundance call, that where I meet with the person face to face, just like this, and we talk about where they are, what their dreams and goals are, and if there is any way I can help them through my free resources or through my programs. we can talk about what that looks like as well. But the way to schedule that, and there we can link that link to schedule the abundance call in the show notes as well, but it's right on my website homepage. So my website is www.avadhi.guru, and right on the homepage they can find a link to schedule the abundance call as well.
Beautiful. We'll link to all that in the show notes. For anyone listening in, Avdi, that's thinking, oh my gosh, I want to get started on this journey and it sounds so exciting. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to step into business, but I'm just not sure I'm quite there yet. You know, they're sort of like dipping their toe in. What is a piece of wisdom or advice you'd like to share with them?
Yes, if you have a dream and if you have a thought about being an entrepreneur, just know that it is possible for you. And take one small baby step towards your dream, knowing that it is possible for you. What is one small baby step you can take, and keep taking baby step after baby step, and it's totally worth the journey. But first, it starts with believing and knowing that if you have a dream planted in your heart, it's there for a reason, and that your dream lifestyle, your dream business is possible 100%.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. I have one more question before we wrap this up. Avdi, to you, what is the meaning of life?
Meaning of life is living fully, living up to the best version of yourself, which is a version that you get to decide and choose for yourself, and then being that inspiration for the world that you're here to be.
Incredible. Thank you so much for being such an amazing guest on the Enlighten podcast. It's been a pleasure to have you here.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Jen, and thank you for having me. And also, I'm also on social media, so people can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn and connect with me that way too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Avdi. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I hope you love the Enlighten podcast, and the biggest compliment you can give me is subscribing to this podcast, sharing it, and leaving a rating and review. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. My handle is @JenHamiltonOfficial, and the podcast handle is Enlightened_podcast. You can also find the video version on YouTube on my channel. Just search Enlightened and don't forget to hit subscribe. Have a beautiful day and enjoy living the enlightened journey of life.